hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Huzzah! Just kidding.
Welcome to another week of Case Files.
With Kat.
And Ashley.
Huzzah! No,
I
I'm just
mean, I
kidding.
don't know what to do after that, guys.
I know.
So show's over.
You know, coming off the show and all that.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Renaissance, y'all. That's all.
I don't normally wear makeup or like eye makeup, and I wore some today. Anyways, like I keep rubbing my eyes and forgetting it's there.
So you look like you have a black eye.
Yeah.
Who hit you, Ashley?
Cat. That's what I'm going to tell people.
Not true. Not
She didn't
true.
like my story, guys.
How you doing? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
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 I'm just like permanently exhausted.
Yeah.
I try to blame the time change.
Blime.
Yeah, you know, see that's what I'm saying. I'm just
So you're
so tired.
You sound like
I'm
you're
tired.
from like England. Blime. I'm gonna
I
blime
don't
the
know what's
time
going on with my
change.
life.
I'm bliming the time change.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just like permanently tired,
Yeah.
stressed.
That's all right. That's all right.
How are you?
You know, same. Same. I'm like not sure how I'm functioning, but we're gonna keep doing it.
Yeah.
It's like a fake it till you make it kind of situation.
Yeah.
On my end. You know?
Like I said last time, I'm gonna learn that guitar. I'm just gonna be a touring musician, and then
and then we'll be rich. The
you can be my manager.
the desire to close my office door and nap
Oh my gosh, yes.
was strong today.
I feel that way a lot. But the walls are so thin at my office building, and I don't know what the fuck my neighbors do, but they are so loud all the time.
What do they? What's the
I don't
sound?
know, like chit chatting, like
just
moving stuff
talking?
around, like so loud. And then the other side is empty, but then there's like this strong like odor today, like they were working on it. And I walk out, and there was a lighter fuel. Is that what it's called? Like what you put on charcoal to start.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Just sitting there out in front of my door. I'm like, what are they
No,
doing
ma'am.
with that shit next door?
No, ma'am.
And then and it smelled, I guess, kind of like chemicals, like this chemical. I don't know what they're doing over there. Like they're rearranging and tearing
Is
down
that a
walls
meth
and stuff.
lab?
I don't know what they're doing. I don't know why there was lighter fluid.
Why was there lighter fluid?
The chemical smell gave me such a fucking headache.
Dude.
Because it
gotta leave.
it just came into my office. So by the time I left to come here, it just it was so bad. So I'm hoping it's not like that when
I had to
to
walk
the
around the
office.
block. That's what I did. I went,
Yeah.
not fully around the block, but I walked all the way down to the corner, and then I walked all the way to the high school, and then back to, because I was like, I need to wake my ass up.
Yeah.
I need to.
Yeah.
Something.
I've been doubling down on coffees and Red Bulls and everything to try to keep myself alive.
I'm sorry. Anyway.
It's not too hard.
Hey, we're here though. Yay.
Yes, we're here.
Yalls.
My support kitties are also here.
Are they being mean?
Not to me.
They're not paying attention to you.
Well, they were earlier. They came over here and said hi.
Oh.
Here comes one right now.
Hello.
This is my favorite support kitty, but we won't tell anyone.
You.
I'm just kidding. It's because he lets me pet him.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Anyways, I'm sorry. We're here for a podcast.
We're here for a podcast, not to pet the kitties.
I'm so sorry. Anyways,
That
I'm
sounded
just
wrong.
gonna get into my story.
Okay, let's do it.
This story was sent in by our listener named Jillian. Now, she has sent in stuff in the past. Like, she's an avid listener. And so when she sent this story in, I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. She lives in this area. And she sent it in. So anyways,
This is her small town story?
I wouldn't say it's a small town.
Oh, it's not a small town. Okay.
I don't know that it's a small town.
Okay.
It's
Thank
Woodstock,
you.
Illinois. Woodstock,
Okay. No S. Thank you for sending in a story. Woo!
Yeah.
Send in more.
Okay. So again, if you have a story from your town or in general that you want us to cover, just please send it our way. You can do it through our website, our Facebook page, however you would like to get it to us. We try to highlight the victims as much as possible, especially if it's like a missing persons case, because you just never know. You know, there's been so many missing children and cases that come out years later. So anyways, please send them our way. Okay. So Ray Ritter and Ruth Ann Raycroft, they got married in 1969 in Woodstock. And over the course of 19 years, they would have 3 children, Colleen, Steve, and Matthew. The family was very close. They were described as a very happy family. It's not one of those situations where people just said that. Like, they were genuinely happy. They were a loving couple. The kids were happy. Like, a just overall happy family unit. Everything I read about them, they were just like the sweetest parents, and the family was just like loved one another, so close knit. And so in 1988, unfortunately, this would just all change. The family would be destroyed, and the reason is one: we as an entire society need to take more seriously a man who could not handle rejection. I know, shocking.
Come on, dudes.
On August 21st, Raymond and Ruth would become the first double murder in Woodstock's history. The primary target of the attack, however, was their daughter, Colleen.
What? Wow.
Yeah. Ray and Ruth were both born and raised in Woodstock, 60 miles northwest of Chicago. Ray was 43 at the time and worked for Commonwealth Edison, which was an electric company. And Ruth Ann was 45. She was retired at the time, but had previously worked as a secretary for a law firm. Now, at the time of their murders, Colleen was 17, Stephen was 14, and Matthew was 11. Now, Colleen, again, was the target of, was supposed to be the target of the attack.
How old was she?
17.
Wow, okay. Damn.
Prior to this attack, Colleen had started dating 19-year-old Richard Church. The two had grown up together. They both attended Woodstock's Marian Central Catholic High School. Ray and Ruth were longtime friends of Rick's parents, Jean and Cherry, and Ray and Jean worked together for many years at the Commonwealth Edison. So both sets of parents were very supportive of this relationship. Like, they were friends. Like, the families were friends. They knew Richard. They liked Richard. They were happy for Colleen to be in this relationship with this young man that they knew came from a good family, that they trusted him. Like, they thought that they were a good match. You know what I mean? There was, like, nothing there that would make them think otherwise.
Oh, boy.
So Rick was very popular. Richard was very popular. He was this good athlete. He had never been in trouble.
Dude, that's just like scary to think, like, just under the radar that something's so bad. Okay.
So he was very popular. He was a great athlete. He had never been in trouble before. There wasn't like a history of violence, or he hadn't been arrested. Like, he was just a good kid at the time and a good athlete, good student. Colleen was head over heels for him. She loved him. Now, she viewed him sort of like this all-American boy, right? Because, again, great family, good athlete, good looking, popular. Their relationship began 1986, 1987, that kind of school year, and Rick was a senior and Colleen was a sophomore. So they continued dating after Richard graduated, and he ended up moving 40 miles away to Northern Illinois University. Now, although Richard would come home almost every weekend during his freshman year of college, including to take Colleen to her junior prom, the romance started to die off for her because there was that distance, right? They weren't together all the time. They weren't like holding hands in school. Like, they weren't going on dates and stuff, right? He was kind of out of sight, out of mind type situation. And that was her right. That's
her right.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you're 17, your like, hormones and, oh yeah.
Well, and she wasn't 17 at this time. She was like, I think 16 when all of this was, she was a sophomore when he went off to college.
Okay.
Well, sophomore going into her junior year.
You're not thinking about
you're not really thinking about long-term relations
No.
for the most part. You're thinking
Right.
about all kinds of other stuff.
Exactly.
So she tried to distance herself from him, and he did not like this at all, and he did not handle it well. He was becoming increasingly despondent and started calling her every single night, and she was expected to be there answering the phone every single night. Now, this attempt to be in constant communication with her, even though she was trying to distance herself.
And this, for all parents listening, this is a huge, huge, huge red flag.
Yeah.
This attempt at control is a huge. Pay attention to those phone calls that your kid has to take, or that for I have to do this for. When you start excusing that behavior, when you start that's something to pay attention to. So just for parents who are navigating this world, it's fucking hard.
So this attempt to be in constant communication with her, even though she was trying to distance herself, began to really annoy and piss her off.
Good for her.
So she told her parents about the situation. She told them that she no longer wanted to be in this relationship. She wanted to distance herself.
Yeah.
And they were supportive of that. They encouraged her to end it and to do what she needed to do if she was unhappy.
Fuck yes.
Now, Richard, again, did not like this at all. And he would continue to constantly call her. Instead of answering all the time like she had been doing, she would say she was busy, she was doing homework, and this would cause him to become extremely upset with her. He was always on edge during the phone calls when she would speak to him, and he was really trying to keep Colleen in this relationship. So when she became distant, that hopelessness he was feeling started to turn to deep-rooted anger. Like he started to turn into this very angry person. Former classmates of Richard and Colleen at the Catholic school were interviewed later and would say that, they were like the football cheerleaders. They were the ideal couple until the late stages of their 2.5. They'd only been together 2.5 years when Colleen tried to break it off. So Richard's football teammates at the Marion Central Hurricanes could not help but notice the way that the rejection seemed to turn him into a hostile, angry person, like just rejection in general. Two close friends, Sean Noonan and Jim Garrett, both sophomores at a college in Iowa, who were friends with Richard, saw that firsthand. So they went to visit. They all three of them, Sean, Jim, and Richard, they were friends. They all went to visit Lake Geneva in Wisconsin in July. Rick is a nice enough guy, but he could never seem to loosen up, Sean said. And then Sean continued on saying he was drinking a lot on this trip, and when he got drunk, he started shouting about how much he hated women, and especially Colleen for dumping him.
What the fuck, dude?
He got loud and obnoxious. A girl told him to quiet down, and he really went off on her. We had to hold him back from going after her. All the way home in the car, he kept mumbling about Colleen and saying, "How could she do this to me?" Jim, the other friend.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's just. Is that just like us not letting our kids experience failing? Rejection, and not everything comes easily.
I mean, this was in the 80s, though.
Oh shit! This is
Like, we were still on our own. Back then, too.
Yeah.
But
Damn.
I mean, he simply could not believe that Colleen did not want to be with him, and he just spiraled. Jim, the other friend, also had vivid memories of Richard's temper, saying, "We were sharing the dressing room with Round Lake after a basketball game," that's another team, "and one of their guys started mouthing off. Richard turned around, knocked him out cold with one punch. For someone who's not very big, Richard is only 5 feet 11 inches and 180 pounds. Richard sure is strong. He often told us that his dad would get all over him if he didn't do what he was told. Maybe that's why if someone told him he couldn't do something, he'd just do it to show them that he could."
Wow. That's a very That's very astute observation, actually.
Yeah.
If you're taught this is how you get things done,
Yeah.
then this is how you get things done. He was not taught how to regulate his moods.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Friends agreed that Richard was heavily affected when his parents filed for a divorce over summer.
Ooh.
Excuse me. So,
yeah.
At this time, him and Colleen are still together. He finds out his parents are getting a divorce. Then he finds out that he's not earning enough credits in his first year at Northern Illinois University to earn sophomore status.
Oh.
And he began talking of suicide to his friends.
Oh, boy.
His floor mates at the university would describe him as your average quiet guy who kept to himself. He would also later go on to say that when Richard became drunk, though, he would get angry. He developed a dangerous personality. They said he was known to hit other people and to hurt himself, but never showed this sort of behavior when sober. So he returns home from college in June of 1988.
Did his parents know? Is there any interviews with them, or like how much what were his family involved? I guess how much was his
They
family
didn't know
involved?
he was drinking and being dangerous and stuff. Yeah.
No one said, "Hey, he's mentioning all of this stuff."
Yeah.
No.
It came out in the later interviews, right? Like these people are all being interviewed after what happened.
Yeah.
You know. So he returns home from college in June 1988. Now, Colleen had already tried telling him that she no longer wanted to be his girlfriend. She had told him that he was too possessive and didn't want to be in a relationship with someone like that, but that she did want to remain friends. She wanted to be his friend. She still liked him as a person. She just didn't want to be in this relationship. So here you have...
Which is her right.
Yeah.
Everybody.
So here you have his parents are getting divorced. He's not earning enough college credits. His girlfriend doesn't want to be his girlfriend anymore. His devastation was very clear, and his anger was also clear, but just how angry he really was hidden to Colleen. She had no idea that when he was out drinking with his friends, the way he was talking about her or other women. She did not know that he was talking about suicide. She didn't know any of these things. Okay.
So he wasn't saying, like, if you leave me, I'll kill myself.
No, he was just trying to keep her in the relationship. Basically trying to keep her with him, begging her to stay with him.
Wow.
So now to Colleen, she had told people that even though the romantic relationship didn't take, she still considered Richard to be a good friend and regretted hurting his feelings. She really did feel really bad about not wanting to be in this relationship with him. She was young. She wanted to live her life. He's off at college. She's still in high school.
He's supposed to be like banging a bunch of
He was
chicks.
being very possessive and she didn't like that. And so she was trying to put her foot down.
Yes, she has boundaries.
And so Richard, on the other hand, was determined to hurt Colleen much more than she hurt him. That was his goal. So about 2 months after they break up, on August 20th,
Oh my God.
Colleen was having a friend stay the night, and so was her brother Matthew. Stephen, their other brother, was staying the night with...
Younger brothers?
Both were younger.
Okay.
So Matthew was at the home. He also had a friend. So it was Colleen and her friend, Matthew and his friend. Stephen was out for the night, staying at another friend's house, and Ray and Ruth had gone out for the evening to attend the Irish festival. Earlier in the day, Richard had confronted Colleen, who had threatened to kill himself if she refused to continue the relationship.
So
that was the first time. Now, some friends gathered at her house and had thought that Colleen had managed to calm Richard down before he left. So, because they thought he was gone, that she had talked him off this ledge and whatever, they all leave except for the friend who was staying the night with her. At 11:30 p.m., Richard begins to call Colleen, begging for one last date with her. Now, Colleen at this point once again tells him no. She says she doesn't want to date him, that she had started seeing someone else, and she would talk to him later. At this point, Rick slams down the phone and hangs up on her. He is pissed off to find out that she has started, like, she had the audacity to start dating someone else.
Audacity.
He had done this so many times in the past where he would get angry at her for not saying what he wanted and hanging up that she just assumed
Another Tuesday.
that she didn't really feel like anything was wrong. She was like, he's just throwing a tantrum.
Yeah.
He'll get over it. He'll call me back later. Basically, she just really, truly felt like he was just having another moment. At around 5:15 a.m. on August 21st, when everyone was asleep in the house.
Oh, it's Jason's birthday.
Richard, armed with a knife, broke into the home.
Oh, my God.
In the home at the time was Ray, Ruth, Matthew's friend, Colleen, and Colleen's friend. Upon entering the home, Rick went straight to Ray and Ruth's bedroom first and stabbed them both as they slept. Now, upstairs, Matthew could hear his parents screaming, and he went into the hallway to see what was wrong and ran straight into Richard. Richard did stab him twice. Colleen woke up hearing Matthew scream, and she attempted to call 911. However, before she could, Richard broke into her bedroom and snatched her. Colleen broke free. He started stabbing her. Like, he grabbed her and just started stabbing her. Now, Colleen broke free and ran from the room, but Richard caught up to her again and began repeatedly stabbing her. She tried to play dead at one point. However, he just continued stabbing. He just didn't give a shit. Just kept stabbing. So she was like, I'm going to die. I have to get up. So she gets up, she breaks away from him again, and she's able to run out of the house. And she starts screaming at the top of her lungs. So Richard chases after her, and he has her in the street where he continues to stab her. Now,
what kind of knife?
I don't know, but here's where you see something, you say something. A 37-year-old man named Chris, who lived across the street from the Ritters, said he saw a man stabbing a teenage girl in the street. I was watching TV with my girlfriend when I heard a scream. It was a lady scream. We ran to the door and we saw this guy standing over her in the street stabbing her. He stabbed her in the chest, and when she rolled over, he stabbed her in the back of the head. He went on to say that when he ran to get his own weapon and returned to the door, Richard saw him and fled. Another neighbor also ran to her defense. Jeff Bruce, 32, said he and a friend named Timothy were playing cards when they heard the screaming outside. Timothy saw a man about 18 to 20 years old stabbing Colleen and then fled between the two houses. Jeff said he went immediately to help Colleen.
At 5 in the morning?
Mm-hmm. Probably like 6 at this time.
Playing cards? At 5 in the morning. They haven't gone to sleep yet. Got it.
I'm not going to question them, right?
Young people. All right.
Timothy saw the man run. Jeff immediately ran to Colleen's side to help her. Timothy called the police. Bruce would go on to say Jeff would go on to say the back of her head was caved in. Oh God, I'm going to try to carry that one around. He said, oh God, I'm going to carry that one around with me for a long time. Again, all of these neighbors, prime example, see something, say something, do something. Don't just film the incident, right? Like one ran to get a weapon, one ran to her side, one called the police. Now, while medics were...
I'm getting hot. I don't know that it's a hot flash. I'm just getting... This is upsetting. So
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Now, while medics were attending to Colleen, police entered the home to see if Richard was still inside or to see if there were any more victims.
Oh, God.
When they got inside the home, they found bloodied Matthew in shock, huddled with his friend who was unharmed.
Oh, thank God.
So his friend was like holding on to him, like trying to protect him because he was stabbed. Colleen's friend was also unharmed. In the downstairs bedroom, however, they found the lifeless bodies of Ray and Ruth Ann. Each had been stabbed multiple times. Rick was nowhere to be found. He had ran 12 blocks back to his own home and had just in a hurry, packed a bunch of his own shit. And around 5:45 a.m., He stole his mother's truck keys and so this is like a very short time that he did all of this. Like he broke in at like 5:15 and by 5:45 he was back at his house on the run. So he steals his mom's truck, he's on the run. Now at the time the police were working around the clock to find him. They truly the police were doing all they could do. Woodstock Police Chief Pitzmans and his 25-man force plus 10 or 12 like additional outside police officers, like what do you call them, forces came in to help on this virtual around-the-clock duty since the first call for assistance from her neighbors came in. They were serious about finding this man. The city's resources were being strained, however, to the limit by more than 60 telephone tips to report sightings of Richard or the two-tone Dodge pickup truck that he was driving. All of them had to be checked out, but the identification by a motel clerk in the Wisconsin Dells was the only one that's been confirmed, said the chief. The clerk said Richard stayed at his motel last Sunday, the day of the slayings. The motel was located in Wisconsin Dells, approximately 130 miles northwest of Woodstock. The chief of police went on to say, our men are working overtime, extra shifts on their days off. We're going to catch this man. If this keeps up 2 more weeks, the fatigue factor, though, could become a problem, he said. Now that the FBI has entered the case on a warrant charging Richard with unlawful flight to avoid prosecution, our hope is to find the kid soon or convince him to stop running. So Dennis Anderson, who was the Woodstock city manager at the time, confirmed that the cost of the manhunt was climbing. Dennis would say overtime costs $1,800 a day, with a total police budget of $1 million that clearly could be significant. They were not playing around about finding this fucking kid.
What were his parents doing? I need to know what's happening with his parents.
I didn't see interviews about his parents. The dad was not in the picture. They had divorced, and he stole his mom's truck. So, what are you gonna say when your kid murdered people and went on the run?
Come back.
Like
we love you. Turn yourself in.
Anyway, but whatever happens, Chief Pitzman and I won't compromise on police protection. The human toll has been too high. 2 days later, Richard was seen back in Illinois, only a few miles away from his hometown, but was...
What? Go ahead.
To what?
Just like he comes back to the scene of the crime. So that's dumb.
So he was seen back in Illinois, only a few miles from his hometown, but was not captured at this time. So while the police are searching for Richard and trying to catch him, Matthew was released from the hospital the day of the attack, having only sustained minor wounds. Colleen was critically injured. She had been stabbed over 22 times.
Oh my God.
Mostly in the back of her head.
Oh my God. That is just meant to kill her. He did not want her to live.
Unfortunately, while she was in the hospital, she missed the funeral of her parents, Ray and Ruth. Doctors feared that she was going to be permanently blinded and that she would suffer irreversible brain damage. However, she was released from the hospital 2 months later, having made a full recovery.
Yeah! Woo!
1 month after the attack, Richard's mother's truck was...
Wait, I have that sound, don't I?
1 month after the attacks, Richard's mother's truck was found abandoned outside of a convenience store 2,000 miles away in L.A. It was determined that Richard had stayed at the Calamar Hotel in Venice Beach under the name Randy Hunt. Now, he apparently had only enough money to stay one evening, as he was found to have slept the following week in the truck parked in a nearby public garage. So investigators discovered that shortly thereafter, Richard cashed $300 worth of savings bonds at a bank a few miles away from Venice Beach. And they had searched this area but couldn't find him, so they assumed he took the money and ran. On November 7th, 1990, this is 2 years after the murders, the case was aired on Unsolved Mysteries and was also profiled on America's Most Wanted. However, Richard was able to still keep a low profile. It does come back into play. Those shows come back into play. During this time period, Colleen would state that she was always wondering if Rick would return. She was said, I was scared when I came home at night, when I put my car in the garage. I was scared when I shut the door, when I had to walk home in the dark. I was scared when I slept. she said, I always had to look behind my back.
What's his last name?
Whose?
Richard. Church.
So she was basically scared that he was going to come back and finish the job because no one really knew where he was. So using the name Danny Lee Carson, Richard was working at Bennett's Pit Barbecue, which was a fast food restaurant in Salt Lake City, Utah. On November 13th, 1991, he served an off-duty police officer named Craig Park. Now, Craig Park immediately recognized Richard. He recognized his picture from a fugitive bulletin, and once confirmed it was indeed Richard Church, they arrested him the next day. So this off-duty police officer just goes in for lunch and looks at Richard, and even though his name is Danny, and recognizes it immediately and reports it, they arrest him. So kudos to this fucking officer.
Kudos.
Before settling in Salt Lake City, Richard had been on the run in several different states, including Idaho, New York, Arkansas. 2 of Richard's coworkers were interviewed, and they had seen his case profiled on America's Most Wanted and thought to themselves, gee, Danny looks a whole lot like that fugitive. But they didn't call authorities because, and I'm quoting here, they did not believe the man who they worked alongside and liked could be the cold-blooded killer in the TV episode, even though he looked exactly like the man.
Wow. Is that him?
Yes.
Oh my God.
A 16-year-old girl in Salt Lake City, mind you, Rick is well into his 20s at this point, also came forward and told police that she had dated Rick for 4 months. She said that he was an extremely nice person but had a temper and would seldom mention anything about his past. Back when I was going out with him, he was nice, sensitive, really sweet, she said. She didn't want to give her name to the newspapers out of fear. She said that she had met Richard, who she only knew as Danny Carson, while working at a different restaurant, The Boiler. After they began dating, she had asked him how old he was, and he replied with only over 21. She somehow convinced a manager to check his employment records that were filed, which indicated he was 33. However, at the time of his arrest, she did find out he was actually only 22. The girl broke up with Richard after about a month before his arrest and said that they were just too opposite, and went on to say that when she told him it was over, he almost cried, but he also got really angry. I can say he has a really bad temper. She said that whenever the two of them argued, he would yell and get a look in his eye, but she emphasized that he never physically hurt her or threatened her. And she said after a fight, he would walk away to cool off and then return and apologize. He'd mentioned that he did not want to hurt me in any way. Personally, I feel like she was extremely lucky.
She's 100%.
I feel like
she dodged a bullet.
I feel like him going out of his way to say, I don't want to hurt you, is saying, I will hurt you. If you don't do what I say, I will hurt you.
I don't want to hurt you.
And I assume just because she was a minor and living at home, maybe that's what saved her, because they weren't living together. Like there was more at a risk. Like if he hurt her, her parents would report him and then he would be found out. I don't know. But I think she dodged a bullet. So to avoid the death penalty, Richard pled guilty to the murders of Ray and Ruth Ann and to the attempted murders of Colleen and Matthew in June 1992. He was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole, and he is still imprisoned in Dixon, Illinois. Now, I mentioned Richard's case was on America's Most Wanted, but while he was still on the run and was also profiled on Unsolved Mysteries, on the same episode, another fugitive, Protestant evangelist Tony Alamo, founder of the religious cult, the Alamo Christian Foundation, was profiled. In 2009, he was sentenced to 175 years in prison for his crimes, but following his capture, Richard would tell authorities that Tony had actually harbored him for several months in 1989, nearly a year after he began life on the run. Richard said he had narrowly avoided capture when the IRS agents raided the the cult group's headquarters in Arkansas. So both of these fugitives were on the same episode, but had actually been together at one point.
Shut up.
And he would, like, the IRS, they raided Tony's compound.
Stop it.
And Richard was able to escape.
Oh my God.
How fucking bizarre.
That's bonkers.
So Reverend Michael Binsfield, who married Ray and Ruth when he first became a priest, was also the priest who did the service for the funerals. He was quoted in an interview saying...
Why didn't they wait for Colleen?
Well, they didn't know if she would... They didn't know. So he was quoted in an interview saying the real depth of this tragedy is that Ray and Ruth Ritter were such loving, caring people. Ray and Ruth are buried at the McHenry County Memorial Park in Woodstock, Illinois. Now, after the arrest of Richard, Colleen would go on to get married in May 1992 and considered his capture and arrest the best wedding gift. She was quoted saying that though the pain of losing her parents in such a brutal manner would always be with her, she was relieved of this tremendous burden, knowing that Richard could not return to harm her and that he would pay for his crimes with a life behind bars. The home where the Ritters were murdered underwent major renovations in preparation for a new owner. The Habitat for Humanity of McHenry County restored the home, once dubbed as the House of Death, and the new owner was quoted as saying, "To be very honest, this house was such a huge blessing to us that it drowned out the negative things I'd heard about it." New owner Rietta Martin said. She said, "My girls are so excited and eager to start a new life that when I finally told them about the history, they did not even once reconsider it. I was worried that it would spook them out and they'd change their minds." So Rietta, she was a single mother and she worked for a home health she was a home hospice nurse. And she went on to say, "Coming into a new home is kind of like what I do for my families. I bring in the sunshine and happiness to a situation that can be very dark and difficult." So basically she was saying, like, you know, she was bringing a new life to this murder home. But
well, I mean,
I'm glad that it went
the sunshine in. Let the sunshine in. You know?
I'm glad that the home was repurposed for a good manner. And I'm glad that Colleen got her closure. I hate that Richard's still alive, but, you know, it is what it is. Yeah.
How old is he now? 50s?
He would be
almost 60s?
Let's see, he was 22 in 91, so you do the math. I don't.
Okay, so he's just a little older than me.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
But yes. So that's my story.
Dude.
Richard Church and again, Ray and Ruth were the first double murder in this little town, and everyone just loved them. So
it's crazy that he like shacked up with a cult leader who also was
profiled on a show and also
so
arrested.
That's wild.
Yeah, the cult leader actually got 175 years in prison for his crimes. But yes,
Good.
It was the religious cult, the Alamo Christian Foundation. Mm-hmm. So yeah, just wild. I didn't see that coming when I was doing my research. Wait. I was like, whoa, hold on, what? Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, but anyways.
Well, that was a good story.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm glad. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate that Ray and Ruth, paid the price for Richard's anger. Ladies, put your foot down.
Also, red flags.
Yeah.
Red flags.
She's 17.
No. Like, as parents.
No, I know.
As parents,
I'm
red
just
flags.
saying, yeah.
Hey, you do have some say.
And I feel like if your friends are telling you how much they hate women and they're going to, harm women and whatever else, maybe.
Red flags.
And maybe say something.
Or if they're telling you that they're suicidal.
Yeah.
That's lots of things.
I know that's a lot of pressure on young people, but take it seriously because you never know what someone's going to do.
Yeah, there's a lot of missed opportunities to step in by adults.
Yeah.
I think. But yes, see something, say something. Damn, both of our stories were, our last two stories.
Yeah.
For sure. Oh, well, all right. Until next week. Now I got to think about what I'm going to do.
I know, I'm sorry.
Until next week. See something, say something. If you have a story idea, what did they do?
You can message our website, casefileswithkatandashley.com. You can message our Facebook page. If you know us personally, you can text us. However you want to get the message to us. Instagram.
I don't have carrier pigeon like capabilities, but
if you can train one to find us, done.
How about it? It's impressive. It'd be impressive, actually.
Yeah.
Really impressive.
We'll
All
definitely
right.
have it on the podcast.
Just cause.
There'll just be a pigeon here next time.
I know, exactly. All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.